Justin is up next. Justin's a professional psychic and reader for 2 years. He blends astrology and tarot together.
That's why we wanted to pay him. Oh,
Huh?
sorry. Oh, shit.
Who? What? I'm only after tips.
We were just raving about you. I'm sorry, Sam.
Oh, you're allowed to do that. Just keep the mic on. Just keep the mic on. Nobody wants to hear it. Justin will be talking about honoring our ancestors to strengthen our bond with spirit energy, which is fascinating and an awesome way to bring in the end section of our festival. Justin, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me and see
Cool.
me okay?
We can hear and see you. Good to have you here.
All right, great. Yes, thank you for having me here. I've really enjoyed everyone's presentation so far. And Sharon, I can't wait for your thing tomorrow. The astrology, that sounds fantastic. All right, so I am doing or sharing some more personal magic that I was, if anyone was at the Pomegranate Festival earlier this year. So last time I was doing a candle magic thing, and Mandy on the Moon had said something about this is a good time for healing with maternal energy or something to that effect. So to give everyone an update on that, I did that magic spell, and over the summer I had a wonderful opportunity where my mother was able to reconnect with me, and we were able to start doing some of that healing. And so now her and I, our relationship strengthened a bit more. We're moving better in the right direction. We're going to see each other over Thanksgiving, and it's been a good time. And so that kind of got me thinking, like, well, if I can work on that kind of relationship, what about the relationships who have passed on, who you can't communicate with any longer? Specifically my grandfather, her father. A lot of the ways my mother is the way she is because of the way he was. And I'm sure that line goes on and on and on and on. And so I began thinking, like, well, there's got to be some kind of way where we can do this same kind of healing through our ancestral line. Maybe they don't necessarily have to be here for us to go through that. So that's basically what this presentation is going to be about. I'm going to take you through a little bit of some of the history that I've learned so far. It's not an all-encompassing history of it at all, but some of the history that I've learned since I've started working on healing this ancestral line with my family. Some of the things I've experienced in my travels throughout the world, some of the cultural things that I've noticed before. I'm going to talk about how to set up a basic altar, how to do some ritual healing things, and if we still have some time, we'll do a guide. We won't do a guided meditation, but I'll share with you waypoints for your own guided meditation, so you can try and heal your own ancestral line with the other magic as well. Okay, the reason why I'm stumbling is because I have all the words in the next slide. There we go. All right, so what is ancestral veneration? So it's kind of anything, really, I've noticed. I didn't think that, cooking a recipe that my grandmother had shared from her mother is some kind of ancestral veneration practice. Our family, we have these really disgusting cookies we like to make. They're called boy cakes, and they're made with molasses and cocoa powder and flour, and that's about it. They're super sticky, sweet. No one else likes these things except for the people in my family. And it's kind of funny. It's just a story of how my great grandmother started making them with her grandmother because those were the only ingredients they had at the time. And it just kind of became this thing that everyone made. And we passed the recipe down. Everyone knew how to make these disgusting cookies. Now, we're like, oh my God, they're gross. But every now and then someone will bring them to a family reunion, and we think about the times we made them with our grandmother or our Mima or whoever, and we kind of share in that warm ancestral tradition. I want to know if you guys can write in the comments if you can share some of your family traditions that you guys have done or you do right now that is also like in kind of like a family way, some family traditions that you use to kind of honor and respect some loved ones who have passed. We can go over some of those at the end. So this can also be like, a spiritual or secular practice. Spiritual side, it's more of the religious, obviously. The secular, like I was talking about, just some of the family traditions and things that you can do for honoring your ancestors. The spiritual side of it would be setting up an altar, doing more uh, offering ceremonial ritual things with them. The secular, it's all the same ritual thing, but like I said, it's a bit more family, more fun, and just kind of more traditional things that you want to do. Almost all cultures have some variation of ancestral veneration. I was really surprised in my travels when I was teaching English in China that they have an entire festival uh, dedicated to this holiday. It's called Chinese Tomb Sweeping Day. It's a Qingmingjie. And it is a really interesting festival. I had no idea what was happening. I woke up one spring morning and I thought that there was a fire outside my apartment building. So I'm kind of like, what the hell's going on? I'm grabbing my cat, I'm getting everything. I'm running out of this building like, oh my God, we're going on fire. And I look over and I see some old man just sitting on the corner with like a big stack of nasty, it looked like kind of green, yellowish, rotten newspapers. And I was like, what the hell? So I grabbed the cat, Peng Song, which means fluffy in Chinese. So I grabbed Peng Song, we hike it back upstairs, and I'm kind of like, all right, I need to text somebody because I don't know what the hell just happened. So I'm asking a friend, like, okay, why is there this man burning a stack of paper out here? I see someone across the street, they're doing this too. What's going on? And so that was around 2006, 7. In 2008, China actually made this a national holiday. It was mostly a peasantry practice, but now they've turned it into an official thing. And so they have banking holidays around this as well. So it's become a big thing. And so what they're doing is they're burning sheets of paper money, joss sticks, incense, and other kinds of incense sticks. And they use it to clean the grave sites, get everything in order. They'll decorate it with flowers. My Chinese co-teacher, Kathy, her and her family went to their local cemetery, and it was really interesting. Someone called her name while they were in the cemetery, and Kathy turned around and was like, oh, what? And then later told me, oh yeah, I believe there's an evil spirit inside me right now. And I'm kind of like, well, why do you think that? And she said, because I answered to my name in a cemetery. So a squirrel, there's a little superstition. You're not supposed to say anyone's name in a Chinese cemetery, because if you respond, then a spirit will know who you are and they can jump inside you. This is not your time, but I'm just saying that's a cute little story. Okay. All right. So, it's kind of like what we learned about, some of the cultures in Egypt in our history books, that our ancestors will have a practical benefit for these things in the afterlife. A lot of the altars that I saw in China for Qingmingjie would have money on them, plates of fruit and wine and beer, all kinds of things. The money was a big thing. They'd burn it, all that stuff. And it was just really a fun thing to see and to experience. And like I said, I had absolutely no idea that this was something that was such a prevalent practice, but it's kind of became one of my favorite holidays just because it was in the springtime. I thought that was really interesting compared to when we want to do it in the autumn. And they just kind of, honored their ancestors in the way a lot of different cultures do. All right, moving on here. All right, magic for our ancestors. Okay, so like I said earlier at the beginning of this presentation, I was doing magic with my mother and then began to think, well, my grandfather passed away. I don't really have an opportunity to try to talk to him. And even if he was here, he had a lot of Virgo energy, and he was, sometimes they don't want to communicate. And so even if he was here, I don't know if we would have an opportunity to have a conversation about the things that we needed to have a conversation about. So, that's a good opportunity for me to do magic anyway, even when he's not willing to communicate or can't. Well, the last 2 years of his life, he had dementia pretty badly, and he was in a care facility for the last few months. And, it was quite traumatic. I remember one of the last times that I saw him alive, I went to this center and I was walking down this hallway, and he just loved to walk around. That was all he would do. He would just walk around, open up drawers and take things out and put them in different areas. He was organizing like crazy, but he was doing it backwards. And so he would just walk around the building. And so he's walking around the hallways. So I saw him at the end of the hallway, and I start walking towards him, and we're about, 30, 50 feet apart, and he looks up and he, smiles and is happy to see me, which is not a look I've grown accustomed on my grandfather's face. That wasn't something that I saw very often growing up, or even more in my adult life. So I was kind of like, oh, this is different. And so by the time we're walking down the hallway, about halfway through there, you could just tell it was gone. Like, the look was just gone from his face. He had no recollection of who I was by the time I got there. He wasn't even aware that there was a person next to him. It was heartbreaking. But, in that one moment, I knew that he had feelings for me. But whatever way, he just wasn't able to express it. So I started to think of a good way to honor that. So I started creating an altar space. Now, I've just moved recently, or I'd show you a picture of my altar. I don't have it set up or anything yet, but trying to get all that set up as well. Okay, so what you want to do is you just want to have a nice space in your home that you can dedicate to your family ancestors. If what you're planning on doing is more of the traditional aspects, this could be a nice corner of a mantle during a holiday time. This could be a corner of the kitchen if you're doing some kind of baked goods or some recipes from family members that remind you of, the when they were with you. Put photographs there. I'd get some framed photos, family mementos, and other things that make you think of family. So this is what I would do is I usually gather some kind of items, a basic 7-day candle, okay. One of these is fine. Try to find a photograph of, okay, fun. Trust me, he's in here. A photograph of your relative. Now, if you are creative and can use a printer in a fancy way and can glue some things, put the picture on your own candle like this. This was one a friend made of mine. This is Blanche from the Golden Girls, the patron saint of well, we'll just call her Blanche. And so, you can decorate that. I'm not going to put a picture of Larry on my on a candle. I've seen some people do that. I think that would be a really wonderful way of communicating with them. But that was just to show you some of the candles there and some of that. So that's basically what I have on my altar. It's just those two little things. It's just going to be a little corner of the room right now while I'm working on this thing with my grandfather. We don't have a whole lot of space because, like I said, I'm moving, so everything's kind of in flux. And so that's just kind of some other different types of ancestors you can work with. Family ancestor, this is a bloodline like my grandparents, recently deceased. Adoptive family's fine. A marriage family, you can also use those. You can have an altar included up for spirit guides, ghosts, things like that. I do have an altar in my house for my spirits. It's just kind of once in the morning I go in, light the candle, just say thank you, and then move on about my day. You can do that with your ancestors as well, just so you can kind of honor them real quickly, give them a moment. It's kind of what Dusty was saying, take a few minutes of that day to focus on that magic. You can give your ancestors 2 or 3 minutes of your day just to kind of honor them, love them. I also like to set up a big thing like this. I noticed that during Thanksgiving, my family would kind of put out a little table like this with family photos of family members who weren't there. I never thought anything of it. I didn't think it was any kind of magic. I just thought it was, oh, that's nice and respectful. But actually, now that I've become a bit more of a magical practitioner, I understand how deep and meaningful that practice is. All right, so here's some of the reasons. I've expressed to you guys my personal reasons for wanting to heal some of this, but here are some other things that a lot of people have also realized why. Like, trauma happens to almost everyone in every lifetime. If it's not happened to you, it's because you've had a very short life, and that's a traumatic thing right there. All right, so it's just kind of, it happens, and a lot of times it's just, people trying to move from one point of comfort to another, or a painless point to another. They're just trying to move around so they can stop feeling bad about where they are right then. And sometimes there's just no clear thought of what they're doing. It ends up, quite a kerfuffle, hurting a lot of people. And so that's kind of what's, happened in my family. People just trying to do their best, inadvertently messing things up and making it a big mess for everyone else. So what these rituals can do is it gives you better health, less stress, more productive life, better energy. And it's also just, something really healing and nice to do because you're not having to have this guilt with you any longer. Another one of the reasons why I started thinking about this method that I'm going to teach you is when I was doing tarot readings, a lot of my clients would come up to me and they would have similar problems with their family. It's the same thing we've been talking about, like the whole presentation. It's a hurt family member hurt another family member who hurt another family member. And some of my clients had, rightfully so, cut off contact with this person. And I'm like, okay, I understand that you want to make sure that you're doing things that are for your better good too, and no longer harming you or harming your family. And in her case, that was the case. I began to think like, well, how can you move past that pain? Because even though you've stopped communicating with this person, you're getting quite emotional and angry when I bring it up right now. I can still tell that this is something that we need to work on. And so I begin to think of like what's a really good method of actually kind of dealing with some of this pain. And I begin to think that this is probably a really wonderful way to deal with relatives who are no longer with us as well. So as I was showing you earlier, light the candle, place it next to your altar picture, wherever you're going to be. Just, it can be just a tiny corner somewhere, a cabinet. I use a shelf and a couple bookshelves. Just take a moment, breathe, do a little bit of a quick meditation, 1 to 2 minutes, just kind of reflect on some good times. Not every moment with these people has been absolutely terrible. Try to find some of the good memories if you can. And then what you want to do is you want to gather some writing paper and a pen. All right. Now, this is the thing. You're going to write a letter from your loved one to you. Okay. This means you're going to write, "Dear Justin, I'm sorry, love, Larry." Okay. Really, that's all I needed. But what you're going to do is use this opportunity to let your relation express how you want them to speak to you. Because, even if, like I said before, even if he was alive today and I sat him down and wanted to have this conversation with him about the things that have happened between us, he wouldn't be able to apologize. He doesn't know how. I don't think he's ever said the words "I'm sorry" or "I'm wrong" or I made a mistake. We can't hold that against them. We have to allow them to live in that space of being apologetic, of feeling remorse, for us to kind of move forward as well. So in this letter, write out an apology like you've never really gotten. Let the remorse, the guilt, the grief, all that come through. Sometimes it takes a while. It takes a few days to get this letter out. Take as long as you need. Don't worry about it looking nice, grammar, spelling, vent and get these out. Another thing that Dusty said was, writing it out on paper is actually really important. So allowing these words to take the time to form into this psyche, this bond that you're forming with your relation right now, kind of allow that to come out naturally without any hindrances or worrying about what you're actually saying or if it looks pretty or sounds nice. Take the time to kind of let this letter sit, read it back to you once you're done reading it, allow it, just sit with it for a little while, kind of let it be, put it under the candle if you want to, next to the candle and the thing, and just kind of light the candle, let it sit there for a little while. I like to burn the candle down for an hour or two a day and then kind of let it go. Next day, light the candle in front of the picture, take a few moments to get back into that mindset, reread the letter, and today you're going to write a response if you feel you need to. If today is a day for you to continue this letter, then continue the letter. But the exercise is for you to start to communicate in a way that you were unable to while you were living, while he was alive, or while any of those things that you're just unable to. Now, don't get into the mistake where you can start recreating your actual history with this person. Let them really try to apologize as the way they would, try to find some empathy for it. With these before that I've done before, I've kind of sat with them for a day or two, and then I went out and burned them, just to release it. I was like, okay, I feel like I've dealt with this and moved on. Keep them if you want to. If you don't, like, oh, I've missed this part here. For the next week, keep reading these letters, journal some more if you need to, kind of meditate. If this is working, good. If you feel like you need a little bit more, I'm going to give you the waypoints for this guided meditation here. All right. So if you've been doing these letters and you're kind of getting to the point where you're starting to see there might be some hangups between what's going on here, you've identified what the actual real issue could be. You might actually be able to heal the ancestral line from the original source ancestor. And I like to do that through a guided meditation. I did that earlier this year, and I'm just going to give you the real quick waypoints for this. But first off is to set an intention. Before you get into these deep guided meditations, you really kind of want to know where you're doing or what you're going, or else you're just kind of, relaxing for 20 minutes. So what you're doing is you're really going to look for the original source ancestor that caused this hurt. Okay, I'm going to say that again. I am looking for the original source ancestor who caused this hurt. Write it down again. Say you're going to try and heal this, do some positive affirmations for it. Then relax in a usual manner. Progressive relaxation is what I like to do. I like to start with the toes, kind of wiggle those, warm them up, move throughout your body. You can find all kinds of progressive relaxation meditations on YouTube. There are podcasts, all kinds of things where you can find a good one that you like. Just after that, I like to step down into a deeper plane. So that means that I like to have at least 5 to 10 steps in this meditation where I'm stepping down to a deeper level of my subconscious. Each step is one depth lower. Each step is one depth lower. It's just to kind of get you in more of that a little bit astral traveling layer. Manifest a time river in this, just do that. Manifest a time river in this meditation. You're walking to a river and you can see one. There's a boat on the dock. You get in the boat, you kind of lay back. You can look up at the sky. When you sit back up again, your boat has now docked where it's supposed to dock, okay? And so now you get out of the boat, you walk along this path, and now you're going to meet the original source ancestor that's caused this family hurt, okay? It's okay if the first time you're doing this meditation, if that line is not clear to you, if you can't really see them very well, practice, do the meditation over again. Sometimes these things aren't cleared up the first go around. If the letters aren't working for you, you may need more than one go around of trying to get through this here, okay?
Less than 3 minutes.
Oh. Wow. Okay. Thank you. All right. Well, I wanted to ask some questions. Okay. So can y'all read that real quick? Do you get it? All right. Ask them why this happened. Ask them like, hey, you were a dick. Okay. Listen to the answer. Ask if they would like to change that and give them the opportunity to do it over again. Go back to the boat, get back out. Go see if that has fixed the issue with that person. Let that reality play out. See if it's helped. Like I said, if this method doesn't work, give it a time again. And I think that is everything for me. I wanted to look here and see what anyone said about family.
So Laurie
things.
commented on family traditions that her dad made pancakes on Sunday mornings for the entire family. All the kids and grandkids showed up. And then when her dad passed away, her husband took over that tradition and makes them most
Oh.
Sundays.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. See, that's a good time right there to light the candle and have a picture and just kind of have that warm energy, because that just really brings that family member right into the family.
Yeah.
No one's ever really leave us. Yeah.
My grandfather used to have all of my dad's got 7 brothers and 2 sisters, and they've got numerous. I've got numerous cousins, and he used to have everybody over on Boxing Day, and we used to do all the presents at the same time. So you'd have the Christmas tree up in the lounge, and then so many kids everywhere, and everyone bought a bit of food, and it was just a big family tradition. And every single Boxing Day, so when my grandfather passed, we still all got together, and we still do get together every Boxing Day to have this kind of family get together, which is lovely.
Yeah, it's nice. It adds that extra little bit of spirituality to it, a little bit of good healing energy there.
Yeah.
All right,
That
any
was so
questions?
beautiful.
Anyone else? Well, thank you so much.
Lots of thank yous, lots of positivity.
Oh, Lori, yeah, that's a good idea. I actually did this with a friend of mine. We had a falling out this year, and I couldn't communicate with her anymore. There was no contact whatsoever. So I'm kind of like, well, you don't want to apologize to me. I'm going to make you apologize to me, whether you want to or not. And kind of wrote out this letter where she's like, I'm sorry, I didn't do this. I'm sorry. It just makes you feel a little better about it. And when you read it, you kind of really think, oh, this is from that person. So good for you, Lori. I hope it helps out.
That was really helpful. I love the not faking it as well, because it's easy to kind of go back and go, okay, well, they can apologize, but actually genuinely, authentically, what would that person say? And letter writing is really powerful. I know for me, I've written letters to myself from my future self, and also to my child self. I think letter writing can be really powerful, and to actually do that with somebody that's passed and being authentic in their response is really powerful.
Do you mind if I just say that, I think pretty much most people here are tarot readers, and the death card, has so many kind of like meanings on so many different levels, whether it is a person that's actually passed over or whether it is, someone who's still alive, that you kind of, the relationship with them has died, if that makes any sense. And I just think this sort of technique and that kind of like extra intuition that we all have now because of being tarot readers, with that death card, with the whole Halloween thing, join the dots. So thank you, Justin.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Before we move on, poor Greg has asked twice, Justin, can I connect with a dear friend who has passed away?
Sorry, Greg.
I'd like that answered.
Can I connect with a dear friend who is? Absolutely. Absolutely. It doesn't have to be an ancestor. I was about to say to Mandy, her comment was that, because most of us are tarot readers and empathic, prop up that picture of your friend, Greg, light a candle for them, kind of channel their energy. See if they can actually, it's a process in automatic writing as well. If you want to go so far into that, this is a bit more forced automatic writing, but just to see what comes about with that and see if that friend can come through. I'd be really interested to see what you find with that. Yeah, Greg.
I have an intimate coin that he gave me for protection. It's a protection coin. So so that would work, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Put all kinds of things like that. Put it right next to the picture frame. Hold it in your hand while you're on your left hand when you're writing with your right hand. Things like that. Yeah, that's amazing connecting tools.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, very good question, Greg.
Thanks.
And Sam, you're doing amazing. Don't feel bad. The chat was going so fast. It was hard to catch.
Oh, no, it's fine. Yeah, no, I'm missing bits here and there, but I think it's getting answered, and the speakers are going back afterwards and going through all the comments. So thank you.
Laura, you asked. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, sorry. Laura had another question, but I'm gonna let you guys carry on. Thank you, and I really appreciate this opportunity. This is great fun.
Cool. If you've got a minute to go in the chat and just respond on there, that would be awesome, Justin. Thank you so much.